Should you pull on the Jing Yuan banner in Honkai Star Rail? That is the question at the moment. And in this video, I'm going to go through all the pros and cons to why you should and why you shouldn't and let you make your decision. I will also at the end tell you what I am going to do on my free-to-play account as well. And if you want a bit more information into his kit, relics, all that sort of stuff, I did make a guide on him yesterday that you can go check out. I'll leave it linked in the description. And also, we did just hit 110,000 subscribers, which I cannot believe. I can't thank you guys enough for the support. So in this one, we're going to do a $100 giveaway. Be subscribed, leave a comment, you'll go into the draw, and we'll draw it in a community post about a week away. More details in the description, but let's get into it. So let's kick it off with why you should pull for Jing. Number one, if he's your husbando, go nuts. Once again, if you just enjoy a character or anything like that, I think it's worth pulling them in this game. It's a casual, it's a PvE game. You're not competing with anyone. Go nuts, have fun. Also, like, he's got a god. I mean, that's pretty cool. I also like the way that the Lightning Lord is like an extra character in your team, essentially, even though it can't be attacked, but it's in the turn order. It's a pretty cool thing. So if you enjoy that and you like him more than any of the upcoming characters, which I did make a video talking about the next few upcoming characters, the next 5 characters, and going over that. If you want to watch that one, I will leave that linked in the description as well, so you can have a look and understand how they sort of play to see if there's one that you really like that you would rather save for instead of Jing. But in general, the first pro and the reason you should pull for him is if he's the one you want the most. That is the first one. Moving on from that, he is very strong for both single target and AoE damage. In the past, I have compared him to Zilla, where Zilla is a single target damage focused unit, but she can do AoE because of her additional attacks. Jing is an AoE focused unit who can also do really solid single target damage because of the way his Lightning Lord works with its passive attack. It hits randomly and hits up to 10 times depending on how high you've stacked it. And if there's only one enemy, it's going to hit that same enemy every time. And that allows him to, like I said, not compete with Zillow 100% on single target damage, but allows him to be a very, very viable single target damage and AoE damage dealer, making him very versatile in the game, kind of like what Zilla is. And that leads me into another point, which is his break potential. The amount of toughness that he can shred on an enemy to break them is quite insane. If you watch my previous video, we went massively in depth into the way the Lightning Lord works, and with its random attacks, the main target of those random attacks is going to take 0.5 break units. Now, I consider one break unit to be what a basic attack does, and when you look at it, mainly you're going to try and maintain at least 6 stacks on the Lightning Lord, meaning that when that Lightning Lord attacks, he's going to do 3 break units. So equivalent of 3 basic attacks worth of toughness shred on an enemy. If you stack it up to 10, it's going to be the equivalent of 5 basic attacks on the toughness bar of enemies. And that's without even looking into him also using his ultimate and his skill throughout the fight. So his break potential on single target as well as AoE, across the board, he's got massive break potential whilst also having that really good AoE and single target damage. But obviously for the break potential, they really do need to be weak to lightning. However, if you get lucky and you save some resources, and especially for free to play, you just have to get lucky, and you can get him as well as Silverwolf. You can kind of alleviate that in the future with Silverwolf changing weakness, but that is a gamble once again, because if you go to pity on him, you're probably not going to save enough for Silverwolf in the next patch. Now, another reason to pull for him is that he's really going to help early game pushing the memory of chaos, because once again, like Zilla works really well in that because she works for killing ads, and then she works really well on bosses. He is going to do a very similar thing. He's got great hyper carry potential, meaning you pair him with 2 offensive supports and he can just absolutely melt things. And that's the way we really saw him being used, especially by the players over on Billy on the CN version in the beta. And because he's got such good damage of both single and AoE, that you just buff him up, doesn't matter whether it's trash waves or a boss, he's just going to absolutely nuke. So if you're looking to try and push that memory of chaos in these early days before you hit level 80 with all your characters, have maxed out gear, have maxed out traces and all that stuff, he will really help you push that. The only other DPS character that I think helps you as much is Zilla, and then obviously Yangqing for Ice Week stages is going to be a really good one, but honestly, he's just a really solid all-round unit for pushing the memory of chaos in these early days. And the final reason to pull for his banner is going to be the 4 stars. He's got a really good roster of 4 stars on his banner, with Su Shang being an absolutely fantastic 4-star physical breaker, especially if you get her to E1. You've got Ting Yun, who's just a really good support, probably the second best support in the game in my opinion. And then you've also got March 7th, who for free-to-play players who only have 1 healer at the moment, you know, getting those March 7th Eidolons, even though it's not a must get, if you do get them, it's never a bad investment when you're lacking healers and defensive units. So that's the other reason you might pull for him, is for those 4 stars. And I'll go through what I'm doing a bit later on. But also, even if you just pull for the 4 stars and get them and then leave the banner if you don't really want Jing, but say you do 30 pulls trying to get one of the 4 stars and you get a Jing, probably ain't going to be disappointed with that anyway. Now let's take a look at the reasons you should not be pulling for Jing. The first one is that he is a lightning AoE DPS. Now we did mention he can also do single target, so he is very versatile, but it's a highly contested spot in the game already when we consider that for free to play, we already have Sir Vol, who's fantastic, especially when we look at like being easier to get Eidolons on someone like Sir Vol. You know, she can really excel in that AoE damage type area. She's nowhere near him in single target damage though. But then we go past that and we look at future banners and everyone's Mummy Kafka, and she is also going to be an AoE lightning damage dealer, but I also feel like she is going to be similar to Jing in that she will be capable of doing good single target damage because of the way she interacts with dots. So that is like a highly contested spot, and I understand that yes, there would be situations where maybe you bring both of them into the battle. I 100% understand that, but I think early on, for me personally, I'd like some more diversity in the units that I'm building to cover different elements and stuff like that in these early stages. So Lightning AoE is just a really highly contested spot. The next reason not to pull him is that he is a damage-based unit, and even though we do need good damage-based units, in these type of games, supports and healers, getting a good core is always going to be a really important thing, and if you are lacking that, that may be what you would prefer to look to. And the other thing is with the damaging units, if we look at the units we've got in the game at the moment, the ones that we know are coming, we've got Zila, Jing, and then we've got Silver Wolf and Luocha. Then we've got Kafka and Blade. So there's 4 damaging units and 1 healer and 1 supportive unit, which I consider Silver Wolf to be a supportive unit the way she works, even though she could probably do some damage. So that's the way I'm looking at it. When you've got so many damaging units that will continue to come to the game, it's kind of easier for damaging units to be power crept. But don't let that deter you if you really do want to pull him, because like we said, we've got Silver Wolf and Luocha in the next patch, which he's not at risk of power creep based on just raw damage numbers in that sense. So you'll get a solid patch out of him, but as always, my biggest concern for him is the fact that we do have Kafka, who's sort of the same element, DPS. If she's just better numbers, where does that put him? I don't know, but it's just a concern that I do have. So with those pros and cons out of the way, the list of pros was actually a lot bigger, but they weren't as impactful for me. When I look at myself personally, this is my free-to-play account. Now, I do have 2 other accounts, one that's a paid account, which I'm summoning for everything, and the other is a 4-star only account, which obviously I'm going to summon on it because I don't have Su Shang or Ting Yun yet on it. But this is my free-to-play account that I'm playing using everything I have access to. Now, on this one, I already have a Ting Yun, and I actually pulled myself a Clara, believe it or not. This account has been incredibly lucky. So I don't really need the physical Su Shang. I don't need a Ting Yun, and I'm not too stressed about Eidolons at this stage. I do already have Eidolon 1 on my Ting Yun. So I am going to actually skip the entire banner myself, just because I think I'll just end up leveling up Sir Vol, because I know she's solid for all I need at the moment. And then on this account, there's a couple things I have in mind. I still haven't 100% decided whether I'm going to go for Silver Wolf or save all the way till Kafka. Honestly, at the moment, I'm thinking I just go all in on Silver Wolf, and then if I get her early, then I go for Kafka after that. I'm not going to go for Luocha personally, because I do have a Bailu. Now, that's pretty much my plan. I'm completely skipping the Jing banner. If I did not have a Ting Yun, I would have done some summons into it. Now, instead, what I did was I wanted a Pella to test Pella, so I just did 30 more summons into the Zilla banner, picked up my Pella, and stopped there. So that was what I decided to do. Similar principle, it's just trying to go for the 4 stars that you want. But like I said, if I did not have a Ting Yun, I would have been going for that banner, and if I didn't have a Clara, I probably would have been going for it as well to try and get the Su Shang. But all I was looking for out of that banner was the 4 stars if I did do that. I wouldn't actually want a Jing because I'd rather keep my pity going towards Silverwolf or Kafka in the future. That is just the way I personally was looking at it. I was not going to summon past the soft pity of 75 because I'd rather be like just off the pity for the next banner, go to it. If I lose the 50-50, okay, no worries. We'll just go to the next pity. That was my entire plan, but obviously things changed because I pulled a Jing Yuan and I pulled a Clara, so now I don't have to summon on the banner at all. The other thing I'm considering doing on this account is just purely saving for whatever banner has QQ on it as the 4-star, because I really want to get her E6. But hey, I'm a sad person, I'm a loser, I get that. But that is my thoughts personally. I even though I really like Jing, I think he's a great unit. Like he's like great for this stage of the game, 100%. I just think that by pulling on him, if I don't get lucky, I'm sacrificing too much in the future units that I could get. But once again, it's completely up to you. He is a good unit if you do decide to pull for him. And if you do pull for him, I hope you get him in the first 50-50, and I hope you get it in 30 pulls tops. But we all know that ain't going to happen for everyone. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have an awesome day. And don't forget to leave a comment, be subscribed to enter the draw. I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.